I'm low on energy. I'm low on energy, people.
Hi, everybody.
Ooh.
We're the Puppet Parent Podcast. We're live. Chad's eating and drinking.
Wow. Water.
I do have
I'm drinking
tea.
water. You
I
brought
have been
something.
known to have a beverage during the podcast as well, but I definitely don't chew things. I think that's where my line is.
No, it doesn't look good when you chew things.
I just don't think people want to hear that.
No?
What do you think, ASMR community?
Are you sure?
Do you want to hear me chewing?
That's not fair, because you're going to get somebody who's like, yes. Chew.
You know, from there's already a Wikipedia about my feet out there.
It's not a Wikipedia.
Oh?
What's pet?
It's like Wikipedia.
Feet?
I don't know.
There we go. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's something about people's feet.
It was a weird message board, and I don't think it exists anymore.
No, it still exists.
You do Google your feet sometimes?
No.
No.
Anyway.
The
internet is forever. Hi, everybody.
You ready? Are you ready?
Okay.
Ready to clap?
Is this what the podcast will be? You start at the clap.
Yes.
Okay.
Start the clap.
So you Facebook people,
say anything you want
get
right
like
now.
the pre-roll. Anything could happen right now. I
So,
can say anything.
What's happening right now? We should acknowledge this before we do the clap. Is that we're late. We're late from our usual time. Our time slot is usually at 3:00 on Sundays, but we had a show in support of the Puppet Show Place Theater at 3:00.
One of our favorite puppet theaters.
Followed by an awesome Q&A with a lot of intelligent questions from kids. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Puppet Parent Podcast. Once again, this beautiful woman with the big brain sitting next to me is my life partner, Z.
Hi. Thanks, Chad.
And I'm Chad.
Oh, and this very handsome young man sitting next to me, he's younger than me. He will always be a little
That's
younger
true.
than me, is my life partner,
Yay.
Chad.
I'm glad that lined up like that.
Yeah.
So it's not the birthday podcast. That's next week. But I wanted to say I've been thinking about you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it's your birthday, and your birthday's coming up, and you're over 40 now.
I'm going to be 41.
Yeah, how's it feel? 'Cause, I mean, that's what people ask you, right? When you turn a certain age, you're like, how does it feel? You know.
I mean, some parts are good.
Mm-hmm.
Some parts are not good. Not as good.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, overall, I'm very thankful. I feel like some really great things have happened in the last year. It's hard to remember those things sometimes with everything that's happening right now.
Right.
I think that I'm taking care of my body more. And I need a good skincare regimen. So if anybody has one that is actually something I could put in place, that would be good to do.
Well, do you moisturize daily? Because that's what people say.
I try to do that.
That like white people don't moisturize.
Oh, there's all sorts of things I don't do that I should be doing. But I mean, I just mean like I'd like to do more personal caretaking. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm not using the phrase self-care because I feel like it's not necessarily self-care. It's more like care of future me.
Right. Future you is like, past me. Why?
Always.
Yeah.
That is always the conversation. So
past me is irresponsible. Wagging your finger at.
Well, no, past me is never taking care of future me. And present me is just like trying to negotiate between the two constantly. Like, guys, just it's gonna be okay. You just have to, talk amongst yourselves a minute, try to find a place, a happy place. But anyway, nobody wants to hear about that.
I do. I think it's interesting because it's always like, well, it's no, because like I'm the kind of person who like I like plans. I like to be organized. I like to have like a fitness regimen. But half of that stuff is just because if I don't do that, then like future Chad is like, it just goes downhill fast in a lot of ways. So it's almost like future me is forcing present me to take care of them, if that, because otherwise I would just be lazy.
Yeah, it's a little like that.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, it's like living with your parents. It's kind of like looking 30 years into the future, feeling like, okay, all right, I got 30 years to fix this. Here we go. Let's make sure to do X, Y, and Z. And let's make sure that, because like a lot of like the genetic conditions that you, the listener, have in your life, you can look to your parents, be like, how do they deal with it, or what do they do? And like sometimes our parents are better off in terms of like insurance or life plans or not caring as much about things. So I feel like maybe it's a little bit easier to be like, oh man, somebody else already navigated this. Let me just piggyback on like the answer if it worked out well. Like getting tested for things.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, I have a follow-up mammogram coming up in September because I had my first one about 6 months ago, and they said, we would like you to come back in 6 months instead of a year. So
that is not good.
I mean, and here's the deal: is that I remember talking to my doctor on the phone in, I'm pretty sure it was April, and all I can remember is she said it's really nothing to worry about. I don't remember anything else she told me. I'm sorry. I think I was so stressed during April that the moment she said there's really nothing to worry about, that I was like, great, I'm not going to worry about it. And then here we are, like at the 6 month point where I have to get a follow-up on my righty. Breast. Yeah, on righty. So, yeah, I, like my mother, have dense breast tissue. And so I can't just have a mammogram. I also have to have an ultrasound. And if I'm like my mom, eventually I might have to have a breast MRI. So even though I am not super well endowed, it still happens. And actually when you're smaller, it's harder for them to see things sometimes. So they just want to keep an eye on something that they, I guess, possibly saw. But I don't remember anything about it because it was April and I was stressed out.
Yeah.
So I conveniently scheduled that appointment on the same day that I'm also going to get my teeth cleaned because I'm taking care of myself. So I'm going to drive back to New York City, pick up the puppet shows that Chad needs for the fall, pick up winter clothes for our kids, and then
pick up a couple for me too, because
pick up winter clothes for Chad, and then I'm going to get my teeth cleaned, get a mammogram, and then drive home.
This is classic Z. It's like you're always like overbooked, or not overbooked, but you are like working yourself to the bone to get everything done. I feel like you should just take like a week off. Just hang out in the apartment, fart around. Just hang out, go see your socially distanced friends. I mean, I was just talking to Roxy, and both of us just feel like, wow, we worked so hard to get to this point, and now that for a lot of different reasons, September is just a gulf of nothing when it comes to work. Now we're like, wow, maybe I could actually just like veg out and do nothing. Ooh, do nothing.
Unfortunately, September is not a relaxing time for me for my day job. I have a job. I work for the Jim Henson Foundation. It's important that I state that so that people don't think that our only source of income is Wonder Spark Puppets. I also have a day job that I'm very thankful for, and that helps us to have some steadiness, but it is half of our income. And that actually is busy right now and will continue to be busy in September because that's when the grant applications are due.
Right. And
So-
maybe you can't discuss this, but it's interesting to think about theater, or let's say like theater artists like us out in the fields. Like, what are people applying for grants for? Because normally grants would be, like, okay, we'll give you X amount of dollars to produce a new show or to put shows up in your place. But since neither of those can happen in the same way, like, are the grants in the theater world changing? Is it like schools where schools sometimes are like, we have this money, we need to get rid of this money. Can we just finagle the rules a little bit to, just get this money out there, or if you don't spend the money, sometimes you lose the money.
We're neither of those cases, I would say. But really, the person who makes the decisions about everything is Cheryl Henson, because she's the president of the foundation. And then we have a board of directors who also make all of those choices. If you're wondering how the foundation has managed throughout this, in some ways, I think that the foundation has just continued as normal in a lot of respects, because the grants that we awarded in 2020, they're just being given extended time for completion.
Oh, okay.
Grants that are awarded in 2020, we hope that they will be completed in 2020, but clearly that's not possible. Grants that are awarded at the end of this year are called 2021 grants. We hope that those will be completed in 2021. However, we understand that there's extenuating circumstances and that they might take a little longer. But that's it. It's still live performance, and we still are encouraging all of the production and family grant applicants to be in touch with presenters.
Cool.
Yeah, like that still has to happen, with the goal being that even if they did some kind of an internet performance, that they will also eventually do a live performance as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Over in Unima USA, which is this international organization for puppeteers, and this is the USA branch, and I'm on the board for that organization.
So fancy.
Doing their social media, or at least I was doing social media. Now I'm just like, whenever I can, social media.
Yeah.
Because of extenuating circumstances. We're talking about, so one of the things that Unima USA is known for is this thing called a citation of excellence, which is, it's kind of like, it's not really like an Oscar. It's more just like in the puppet world, if your show or venue or something earns a citation of excellence, it's a really big deal. And it's kind of like if you have one for something that you've done, it's something that you put prominently displayed because it's very exclusive and it means high quality.
It's the highest level of award that you can receive within our art form specifically. There are other awards in theater and the arts, but in puppetry specifically, the highest level of achievement is the Unema Award.
Right. Which is such a nice thing, like a great tradition. So,
and it was started by Jim Henson, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it had to be.
And the oak certificates were designed by Brad Williams, who was Bart Rockerburton, who is my professor at the University of Connecticut. They were performing partners with their own puppetry company. And what I didn't realize until I went to audition at UConn was that Brad Williams actually had a huge influence on me as a puppeteer because of work that he had done on TV when I was growing up. So, Brad Williams, the late great Brad Williams, cheers to you, Brad. I never got to meet you, but I loved your stuff. And he was an amazing illustrator, just so talented, so funny. I never met him, but all the stories I would hear about him, just wonderful. Had to mention his name.
So, the question over, and I'm sure it's kind of the same in other theatrical venues or organizations, is like, do you take what you had been doing and then apply that to the streaming world, because we're just streaming now? So can an award be given to a streaming show? So the organization has to think. I think there's like a committee right now of like people like thinking about that, and I think the answer will be yeah. I mean, of course,
I would
but
think
it's just
so
different.
because they've given Unema Awards to movies. Mm-hmm. So,
but that's its own category. So the organization has to come to terms with reconciling X and A, right?
This
and
whole
bring it in the
thing,
middle.
this whole thing is making so many different aspects of our lives move forward at a pace that no one is comfortable with. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like all of these things were destined to happen in some way or another. Mm-hmm. But, I think that there's a gradual progression of how these things usually occur. And then there's like a couple steps forward, a step back. And instead, everyone just got shoved into using technology, into understanding that high-speed internet is vital to being able to communicate, understanding how your kids are learning and how important teachers are, understanding the importance of healthcare and how and the lack of equity with healthcare across the board, and Black Lives Matter and all of these things. All of it is like everything is just so heightened right now, and I think that when you see, like you said, you had a moment the other day, yesterday was it, where somebody yelled at you for wearing a mask?
Yelled from his pickup truck at me on the streets, which as a white man, you don't get yelled at by random strangers at all. It is a unique experience when you are the majority, like culturally or like anyway. So yeah, like an anti-masker yelled at me from the safety of their truck and sped away, which was the case every time that we've come into contact with somebody that had something to say about wearing a mask or Black Lives Matter or something. They're always like, they just want to get their say in and then speed away.
But you know what they're really saying, I think? I think they're really saying, all of this makes me so uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And then, goodbye. That's what I think people are really saying. Like, of course, and I say that because we're raising a kid who has some emotional regulation issues, and we're constantly reading books about emotional regulation and how to handle your emotions and how, like proper ways versus non-proper ways. And here we are watching television and talking to you with your instance the other day, where people are having all of these interactive moments with other people where they are not being good. You have people shoving each other, yelling at each other in stores, like, you're not wearing a mask, you can't tell me what to do, and they punch them, It's like, that happens. That's happening all over the country right now. Mm-hmm. But I think that really it's a case of, like, people just not being well and then not being able to cope, not having the coping strategies to understand, like, how to handle all of this. Because it is so much. It's so much. I mean, I've been, I think, doing okay for the most part after we got out here because your parents are such a huge help. But I have a lot to do right now for my job, things that are not easy for me, and it's hard, and I feel like I'm like sinking a little, because there's something that already in regular normal life would be hard. And then it's just compounded with other hard things, and then like the day-to-day hard of like my kids like not being cool and like stuff happening at home, and I was supposed to make dinner today and I didn't because I just looked at what the schedule was like and I just thought, I'm not going to be able to make dinner. I made dinner yesterday. So
thanks. We could probably just eat the leftovers because you made so many kebabs.
Well, that's the thing. You can't just buy, like, when I say I want chicken, they buy like the whole chicken out here. Like I said, I want a chicken breast, and it's, I'm used to them coming like packaged, like, like maybe 2.5 chicken breasts in a package. Mm-hmm. No, it's like the whole, like both halves of the breast, like the chicken. And it's like, that's a lot of meat. That's a big chicken. I would never have purchased that much, but here it is, and I have to use it. So, because I thought it, you know.
It's all right. It's going to feed us for a bit.
Anyway, blah, blah, blah. This week is not a great week for me. But, you know, if I get my stuff done, the hard stuff, then I think it might be feel a little easier. But right now I'm feeling,
Yeah, me too. Ugh.
And I've eaten way too many Cheez-Its. Usually Cheez-Its make me feel better, but at this point I've eaten so many that I feel like I'm a walking Cheez-It, and they taste gross to me now.
Sorry, Z.
Yeah. So
You just can't be left alone with the bag of Cheez-Its. Maybe we'll need to portion them out. You know what I do is I have a coffee cup, and I pour my animal crackers into the coffee cup, and you can only have so many.
Yep.
And then I put the bag into the sealed container, into like the big plastic tub over there. So like there's this whole like you got to go over there.
Have you read
open the tub and like you got to there's like effort if I want more.
But have you read the Frog and Toad story about cookies? About the cookies?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and they talk about willpower.
Yes.
And Frog is like, well, you know, why don't we put them into a box, tie a string around the box, and put them on a very, very, very high shelf? And then Toad says, yes, but I could get a ladder, go up the very high shelf, get the box down, undo the string, open the box, and then eat all the cookies that are in the box. And then Frog ends up taking the box of cookies down from the shelf, undoes the string, opens the box, and then puts the cookies outside and lets the birds eat them. And then everyone is sad because they don't have any more cookies. And then Frog says, yes, but we have lots and lots of willpower.
Yep, and Toad is like, I hate you.
Yeah, I relate a lot to Toad.
Worst domestic partnership ever. How dare you force me to do the right thing that I told you I wanted to do?
I relate to both of them. I want to be Frog so badly, but I secretly am Toad when it comes to things like food and things that make me feel better, like cookies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I don't think I've gained like the pandemic 15 or
That's
anything.
Good.
But
you do a thumb war? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. My nails are long. For sure.
Don't do a thumb war against you. Although this is my sharp. This is my longest nail. I always keep one thumbnail longish. You know, because dimes and nickels. You never know when you're going to pick up something or do something with them. Your nails are all like, man, you're like dragon nails.
It's crazy.
Yeesh.
But that's acceptable for a woman to have longer nails.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're kind of annoying. It's hard to type. So I'm probably going to cut them.
Oh, yeah,
soon.
that's the thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess women who type with really long nails, you just use the pads of your fingers and not the tips, but I don't type like that.
How is it possible? Second question, how is it possible on a phone? I was just trying to write a note about what we were talking about, and I kept hitting the Y instead of a T over and over and over again with the pads in my...
That's what I do
I want to watch Cardi B type something on a
she,
keyboard.
She's like this. I can tell you because I watched her. Because there was a while, there was a top secret puppet project that I did for Cardi B that never became a thing, unfortunately. And I don't know when I'm going to be ever allowed to talk about it, but maybe someday.
I mean, right now, why not?
I just mentioned it. That's all I did. But I don't have pictures. It's like it never happened. So I could be making it up. But anyway, I for about a year I followed her Instagram because I was just ready for when the thing was going to drop, so that when they said we want more, you have to impersonate Cardi B even more, here's an even nicer puppet, I was going to be ready. And yeah, it's like like this. And they're long and sharp.
Does she still have them?
Yeah, she does. I thought maybe but I don't know if she has them full time, but I think she pretty regularly does.
She has her baby.
I know, but that baby's not that tiny anymore.
Oh, yeah. It's growing up, yo.
Culture. Oh, I knew all sorts of things about her because I wanted to be able to, like I wanted to be able to do like enough that it was like her. So if they called me, I was like, I'd be like, I'm ready. But then after a year and a half passed, I thought, you know what? It's not going to happen. It's okay. You don't have to virtually stalk Cardi B anymore. But I am a fan, and I do enjoy her music quite a bit.
Yeah. I like that new single. I think everyone has opinions about that new single. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I have to listen to it again. I listened to it once and then was like, you need to be working right now. What are you doing?
Every time, actually, yeah, our very dear friend Fred Thompson out there, I think it wasn't the most recent Cardi B single, but another one like it a couple weeks ago, where somebody was like, yo, check out this track, and Fred was like, oh, kids today, they're dirty language, and man, back in my day, things were a little bit cleaner, and I was like, oh, Fred, I'm about to end this band's whole career on Facebook. No, so I was like, here you go, boop, boop, because,
oh, the naughty song.
There has been naughty songs for as long as there's been humans, right? And there is some of our favorites music when we were dating was like Rose Murphy and like
Louis Jordan.
Early jazz recordings with like a vocalist who's brought in just to do like vocals, and it's very silly and very tame. But there are some that are not so tame, and they are on the internet right now for you to find without naming names. But like there are some, like you thought that, oh man, this period of history, oh man, people didn't use that kind of language.
It was different language, but it had the same intention.
Some of it was the same.
Some of it was.
Some of it was the same. Anyway, but I was happy. I was happy to know that the entire internet is chatting about music for half a second instead of, the elephant in the room, which is like the election coming up, which is like in the back of everyone's brains. It's like that's where we got the like election part of our brain, and then we got the virus part of their brain, and like these big stressors all the time, no matter what political affiliation you have. Like because it's an election year and there's a global pandemic and 200,000 Americans pretty soon will have died. That like these are the things that we're thinking about constantly. These are the things that news people are talking about, and it's inescapable. So when this like 1990s PMRC, like nonsense conversation about like, oh, she uses naughty language in that song came up, I was like, thank goodness. It's just about some nonsense that has no stakes. It's like if you talk about the song that you dislike, guess what? More people are going to talk about it, and it's just going to keep, building and building the interest until the song is going to go platinum. And I'm sure it has. I haven't looked into it, but like
I hope so.
It's just going to go and go and go.
We
and
always
the song
want
itself,
success for artists creating things,
Yeah.
So, even if it's controversial.
And it's controversial for the silliest reasons.
Yeah.
Come on. Like at one point when I was growing up, there was gangster rap on the radio.
Yeah.
And there's like where people are like rapping about these fantasy situations where they're like, like mafia murderer people, and that was like pop music in the late 90s, man. And like I'm so happy that we're done with that era. We're on to something else because, yeesh. I
don't even know, like, because I'm just not tapped into that. But you know what I have been, well, I needed a fun show to, like, be on in the background to motivate me while I do some boring, mundane work. And I revisited The Voice because I really like that show. Mm-hmm. And I had dropped off a number of seasons ago because I'd watched it ever since season 1, and then when Miley Cyrus and Alicia Keys joined on, it wasn't because of them being coaches, just for whatever reason. I guess my life got really busy. I just couldn't get into
to change.
Yeah, so I stopped watching. So I found those episodes online. They're hard to find, but I found them, and I've been watching them. And I do enjoy that show quite a bit because it's nice to see people following their dreams, getting better, getting advice from people who have so much experience and stage experience, theatrical experience. So that's been a nice little bright light in the midst of all this. Had nothing to do with the pandemic or anything or the election, which are huge stressors for me. But
Oh, guess what?
what?
We are not receiving our usual comments
Oh.
in the feed.
Oh, are there people? I usually have my phone and I didn't today.
Sorry everybody. I don't know why it's not showing up. But it means I got to restart my computer, right?
I'm glad it's working.
Yeah.
We weren't just talking to ourselves in a void.
I was kind of like, well, the time changed a little bit. No, so V wants to know what kind of skin you have. Do you have dry skin or oily skin?
Well, let me tell you, since you're so interested, I have dry skin. And in fact, I have a condition called seborrheic dermatitis, which is very similar to dandruff, which it's a form of dandruff, but it also occurs on my face. So my face makes too many skin cells sometimes. But it really flares up when I'm stressed. So if you can imagine, I think there's an earlier podcast, maybe 10 episodes back, when we were back at home. And where at one point I said, anybody else having a lot of skin issues right now? That was probably in April or May. But I do try to wash it every night, and then I have a night mask that I put on that's like a firming mask.
Really? I've never seen it.
I know, because I have it's not like it's clear. It's not like a mask that you peel off or something, like a mud mask, but it's called a mask.
Oh,
and,
so it's like a
But it's like
ointment?
a thicker cream, and it's supposed to firm up your skin.
Oh, I had no idea.
And then
Sorry.
I got it when I was, you're not supposed to know about that. I got that when I was 39 because I knew I was going to be turning 40, and I said, Alyssa, take me to Sephora for my birthday present, and so I can get some things that will keep me looking young. So that's what we did.
How am I not? All right. Why would you hide this secret information?
It's not hiding.
From me?
It's like it's like if I were to ask you, like, what kind of aftershave do you use or something?
Right, and I would say aftershave.
It's on the shelf. I'll show it to you.
Aftershave.
We've
Who
just
does that?
lost 6 viewers by having this conversation. So anyway.
Oh no, you're right.
But it's I use a moisturizer, but I've been learning a lot about like serums and things, and I'm just wondering, like, should I know, or eye cream? I don't know. Should I be doing more than what I'm doing? I don't know. Or should I alternate my nightly mask with like some kind of nightly cream? I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
All I'm saying is, like, if the cat or I are like nuzzling into your face late nights, I need to know if I'm like messing up your kind of beauty treatment.
No, because it just goes on there. It's fine. What else are people commenting on?
You know what I think it went wrong was I went live for half a second accidentally, and then it's like, oh no, stop. And Restream probably took that as like, no, that's an actual one. And then I hit live again, but it's the same exact titles and metadata and stuff. So maybe it's saying, like, maybe that's where we're not getting the comments.
Okay.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. V is saying, are we staying in Western New York for the fall? That's the plan, taking it 1 month at a time. And then Janine Davis says, you've made our time at home a special one for our 4-year-old. He looks forward to a puppet show every Friday.
Oh, well, that is very heartening to hear. Thank you, Janine.
Thanks. And today I just did a birthday party show, a private show for a parent who told me that I think he's turned he's a very young child.
Yes.
That's their favorite thing. It's Puppet Show Fridays.
Oh, Puppet Show Fridays.
Yeah.
There are so many people who love it and that we don't even know about. Like, because I know I'm somebody that doesn't generally comment on things online. So I can only imagine there's hundreds of thousands of people like me, all over the place all the time who like watch things and don't ever comment. And so we're so appreciative of people who do comment. And every once in a while when something's very, very special, I do comment because I know that it's, especially now, that it's something that really does make it feel like, oh, the work is worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
I'm hoping I'm hoping that, like everybody, that we'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. News was that people are like, hey, it's okay if you're like you're gonna be immune from like with the vaccine, you're gonna be immune for a long time, and it doesn't matter if your antibodies die out, you're gonna retain that knowledge inside your T cells.
Oh, that's correct?
More and more studies are coming out that say
that's
that
good.
affirm. Yes, thank goodness, because so we won't have to all get shots every 3 months, just once a year, right?
Forever?
I don't know, until it's gone, like smallpox. Like we don't have to get smallpox vaccines anymore.
Wow.
Although we do as babies, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Woo.
if everybody, including the guy who yelled at me from the safety and comfort of his pickup truck, gets the vaccine when it comes out, then we can be done. And then all of us can go back to business as usual. It won't be business as usual because a lot of our allies, a lot of the venues, a lot of the people that we relied on and relied on us are not going to be there anymore, or
We'll
it's
see.
just going to be different
Everything
places.
is going to be different. Everything's going to be different. I mean, I'll tell you, I have some real big feelings about, especially our younger one, Finn, who's 5 years old, and how he's not going to have a regular kindergarten year. Like, he's missing his first day of real school. And he didn't get to have a preschool graduation, a pre-K graduation. I mean, not like a technical graduation, but at least like even a celebration. And I didn't do a last day of school for the kids, like, in June, because I didn't want them to think, last day of school, we're done, because we've been doing school every day. And so I didn't want them to feel like, well, hold on, you said last day of school. So
Right, and summer vacation. I think the older one would remember summer vacation.
yes.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Well, I just didn't want it to be an issue. So we never had an official last day of school, and now I do want to plan a back to school party, and I have some ideas for what that might be, with some different like games and prizes and things, and just trying to build it up a little bit as like, your own personal challenges, and you're going to be the best that you can. And we're so excited for you guys, and we're going to help you. And here are the things we're working towards. And yay, go team. And just have like a big cheerleading session for the kids and just make it a big deal, and have their favorite foods, whatever that might be, even if it's just cake. Maybe it's just cake and ice cream the whole time.
Oh man, I just had a thought.
What?
What if Walmart sells like sushi?
Who wants sushi?
Me?
Oh, you want that for your back to school party?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Maybe
Maybe I'm just hungry.
Maybe you could go to Buffalo.
Oh, that's true. Maybe we can get some delivered.
Or Wegmans. We could drive to Wegmans in Orchard Park. I think there's a Wegmans there.
Oh yeah. Well, there's definitely Tops.
Wherever
Wherever
the closest Wegmans is, that they would have some sushi, I'm sure.
It's been a long time. It's been half a year.
You know what? I was looking at sushi mats for you, but then I was like, where would we get
we could make sushi, right?
We could, but it wouldn't have fish in it. We wouldn't get like sushi grade fish out here. So then I was like, well, I guess we could have avocado rolls, cucumber rolls, things like that.
I guess you could get frozen.
Sushi? Rice doesn't freeze well.
Well, no, I mean
sashimi?
You could cook food and put that into sushi. It's okay. You don't have to have
That's
raw, because one of my favorite ones is the Godzilla roll, I think, which has like cooked chicken.
Well, yes, we could do that. Anyway, it's possible.
Sushi.
Well, okay.
Man, I'm. I literally just performed.
You should have housed half a bag of Cheez-Its like me, and then you would not care about food for a long time.
I was eating. I was literally had my cup of animal crackers right here, and I was eating it. And you told me right before we started, "Are you going to eat that the whole time?"
Yeah, I did say that.
Which tells me, no, I should not eat that the whole time.
No, bad manners. Yeah. Nobody wants to see us eating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there might be a couple people on the internet.
So our hope for September as puppeteers is that there are schools that are in need of virtual field trips, and that there are teachers who want to collaborate, and that we might be able to be, a part of some distant learning experiences in the fall semester and ongoing until things even out, and then suddenly we're back in our old life again, which will also feel weird. I know even just going back for the day in September is going to be kind of like, what is happening? That's probably going to be like a little crazy, but I'll just like deal with it later.
Just
I'll just
call me.
compartmentalize all of those feelings.
Just
and
call me on the phone if you need a pep talk about coming back to us.
Oh, no, it's not about that. It's more about, being home and then leaving home. And then, I don't know. I know we're making the right choices for our family, but it's hard. It's hard to have just like stopped your life, to have had a life that you really liked, and then like not know when that life is gonna like boot back up again. And then trying to figure out like what the best choice is for your kids. That is, oh my goodness, fellow parents. We see you, we hear you. I mean, it's so hard right now. I constantly am like, is this the right choice? Even though I feel like in my heart it is the right choice. But then, you wonder, was it? I'm not sure.
I know. I was going through those feelings today too. Well, for the last couple of weeks, actually. I know you've noticed of just like rationally, I'm just like, yeah, I got everything going for me. We got a plan. We feel confident about that plan, and we got our health, and like all these great positives. Then like, why do I feel like a rotten apple on the inside? Why do I feel like a mushy banana? And there was one day where I was like, I know I'm depressed because I don't feel like getting up off the couch right now. And it's not because I'm tired. It's because I feel like trash on the inside. And that's all. And I know it's all in my mind, but it's like, it's hard. It's hard to recognize when you're hurting, when you're in the middle of hurting. It's kind of like depression is like this mind trick where you forget why you feel terrible until you finally recognize like, oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it's my old friend depression. Yeah, you need to leave as soon as possible. Then it's really tough to rationalize that stuff away.
Well, it's also hard to do anything. I mean, I'm supposed to be doing all this stuff for work, and it's tough. It's really hard right now because it's stuff that I'm not confident about, and then I already don't feel good, but I don't know if it's like causal. Like, I don't know if I'm feeling depressed because I'm doing something that's difficult, or I was feeling depressed and now I'm doing something that's difficult and it's making me more depressed. I don't know. It could be, I'm not sure which came first, but I know that I have to just dig deep and like get through it, but I don't know. Sometimes that's just hard. It's hard to do. So, but the kids are doing okay and we're doing okay. And I get to think about, in other news, like what's the workshop puppet going to be for this week? And,
that's interesting.
What's been so fun is a lot of people have been doing the Shaggy Dog workshop puppet that I did a few weeks ago. You never know which one is going to be like a popular one, and that one has been a fun, easy one for a lot of people. So that's great. That makes me really happy.
Yay.
Yeah. And I don't know if these other ones, they'll just live on, and somebody someday will stumble upon them. And
on the internet? Nobody stumbles upon anything on the internet. I'm being totally serious. No, it just doesn't happen anymore.
I do. I stumble upon things.
There are great websites that will take you through the least viewed videos on YouTube as a way to actually stumble through things.
Yeah.
But doesn't matter where you go, the algorithm follows you relentlessly.
I have search terms and like ways that I have my ways. But yeah.
I feel lucky if I'm on YouTube and I see something that has like less than 100 views.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
Ooh, wow, not popular, wow. And then I watch it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is probably why. But it's usually somebody trying really, really hard to make it. Thankfully, we don't have that problem. The goal with this is not to make it.
Well, let's make it through this. That's what it is.
That's the goal. But it's not to make it as streamers. No, we're not going TikTok strong right now or anything like that. We're not trying to be topical.
We're not on TikTok at all, actually.
No.
So, yeah, guess we're old. Not on
Yeah,
TikTok.
because the old people aren't on there. Unless you're super old and then
I don't
you're a
know.
novelty.
I heard enough about TikTok that I just deleted it from my phone.
Yay.
And I was like, oh.
Well, now TikTok is suing the federal government for trying to shut them out of business and sell them to Microsoft and take a cut.
No, it's all a mess. It makes no sense, really. It's just like some company from another country isn't allowed to have like a huge success. Well, we have to make sure that that app becomes an American app so that we can make money off of it. It's ridiculous.
It's hypocritical, in my opinion, because all the data that they're collecting, all these American apps collect all that stuff and they sell it all the time.
All the time.
But because it's a country that our country is not besties with, not anymore, and like it's a country that is a lot like the U.S. in some respects. We have concentration camps. They have concentration camps. We have a wannabe dictator. They have an actual dictator. Stuff like that. That makes it like, do we really need to, to do what we're doing to this company?
Are you registered to vote? Are you registered to vote? Are
Yeah,
you going to
true that.
vote? Make sure that you vote and vote early. We will be early voting and driving to New York City and participating in early voting this year. And I have planned dental cleaning appointments for the boys around our early voting because that's what I do now. We're driving to New York City. Who needs an appointment? I'll make you one. But eventually we will go back to New York City and we will resume our lives again and have our parking spot back and our beautiful tiny little 2-bedroom stabilized apartment in Astoria.
That's right. You hear us, future Chad and Z. We still thought we could resume our normal life. Man,
Oh no, stop.
How about that?
Don't do that.
Isn't that a gas?
Don't.
We're going to go back. Yeah, it's
Don't.
going to be fine.
Don't make it like some kind of weird Matrix
The
stuff.
right person will get voted in and they'll find a
Stop.
vaccine.
Nope.
And
Don't do
these
it.
are all the things we're hoping for.
Well, we will see what happens. I'll tell you that I got so depressed from the last election that I actually can't get too excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we're not going to know the answer to the election the next day. We won't know.
Yeah, either it'll be contested and we won't know, or we'll be like, is really seriously, and
Or we're going to
there'll
have
be
to
calls
arrest him and drag him out of that building. I mean,
all
it's
we
not
have-
going to go easy.
All we
That's
have
what
is the
it's gonna
Sergeant
be.
of Arms of Congress. That's it.
I don't know. But what I do know is that every day is a new day, and tomorrow's Monday, and I have some exciting things happening tomorrow that someday I'll be able to tell you guys about. And that's fun, and that's something I'm looking forward to. And
That's awesome. If you can say, if you could tell people, I have something I'm working on that I can't tell you about. That's in the entertainment world. That's super exciting.
it is.
Yeah.
That is exciting. So whenever things are feeling like oppressive, I just remember that I have a thing that's exciting that I'm getting to work on that makes me feel like life is good. And someday I'll get to tell you what that thing is. And I will eventually also be done with this very difficult thing at work and get back to what I normally do, which is writing emails. No, I do more than that, but I'm a helper, so that's what I like to do that, and I don't want to be in charge.
I'll take being in charge. Being in charge stinks sometimes.
I don't mean in charge. I don't. I have a project that I have to finish.
Yeah.
So projects can be tricky because then eventually they have to come to an end. So I'm going to work on that. It's going to be great. I have been working on it. It's just, it's hard. It's hard.
It is hard. Let me check the feed. See if anybody else has...
All right. And then we're going to, I think we're going to say au revoir.
We'll call it a night.
I'm making the tiniest little origami crane out of my tea bag paper.
Look at that. Nope.
No.
Nope. So we'll call it a day.
We're
All
going to call it.
Yay.
Well, this is an exciting end. But we are so thankful for you tuning in. And if you watch every Friday, Chad Performs, at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And we do stuff throughout the week. And I have my building sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'll be there. I should be there both nights this week. Maybe not the whole hour, but at least partly. And
Mystery Max on Saturdays.
After
today's show, Roxy was very much like, and Mystery Max, because we just did a Mystery Max adventure. Mystery Max has been all over Springville, and you need to check out his adventures every Saturday at 11. Joe, she told me that she really likes auctioneers and auctioning culture. So watching him talk to a real auctioneer was like awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.